Hey guys, how are you? Today I'm here for another book review. I'm going to be reviewing The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. I read this one just a couple days ago, so I'm also really excited to talk about this one with you. This book was originally published back in 1983, I think I want to say, and which is very interesting considering reading the book and seeing the writing style, which I'll get into in a little bit. And for those of you who may not have read this book, maybe you've heard of the film because it has been adapted several times. The most recent one, I believe, is the one starring Daniel Radcliffe, aka Harry Potter, which I had watched years and years ago, and I didn't even know that The Woman in Black was based off of a book. I just thought it was a movie. So learning that was really cool because then I was able to read the book, and I think that having seen the movie and read the book, I think both hold up on their own, so I would recommend both, to be honest. Before we get into the book itself, let's talk a little bit about the author. I can't tell you much, but Susan Hill was born in the 1940s, and she is both a fiction writer and a non-fiction writer. She's been writing for years and years and years. I've only read The Woman in Black, but I think she tends to have more of a traditional older writing style, which is interesting because, like I said before, The Woman in Black, being that it was published in the 80s, it's written in such an old-timey gothic style, which I think is really cool. But she's written a lot of other books. I have no experience because I haven't read them. I can't tell you anything about them, but I think I'm definitely interested in picking up more of her work having read The Woman in Black. So let's get into the story itself. The story follows our main character, Arthur Kipps, I believe is his name, and in the beginning of the story we follow him as he's older. He's probably in his 50s or 60s, who knows, but he's with his family and they're in their home and they're telling each other ghost stories. They're just telling each other fun ghost stories, but then when it comes to Arthur, he sort of in a way freaks out because that makes him uncomfortable because he himself has actually experienced a ghost story himself that's real to him, that he has never shared before with anyone, that he's kept so close to himself. And so he finally decides to share it by writing it out and telling us, the reader, we read it with him as he tells us the story of what he went through. And so the story then goes to back when he was in his early 20s and he was a solicitor, and he was sent on one of his jobs to this small little town to get the papers organized of this woman who recently passed away. And when he reaches this area, the town is odd and strange because he finds out that there is this woman. He sees this woman in white and he asks people around the town about her, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to tell him what's going on. They're very hush hush. So it's a very spooky little town, to say the least. And when he goes to the home where this woman passed away, people tell him, don't stay the night over there. Stay in the little tavern that you had. Do not stay over there. But he decides to stay in the home regardless because he has to sort through all these papers. He has to find everything and everything's in a disarray. So he decides to stay there, and he probably eventually becomes haunted, and I don't want to spoil anything particularly, but it's a ghost story to say the least, and he's just trying to find out the history of this woman, like what truly happened to this woman, why is the town so quiet, blah blah blah, and that is the story. And with that being said, I do want to say, like I said in the beginning, this is more of a gothic novel. It's written in the traditional gothic style. When reading it, I felt as if I was kind of reading something similar to like Frankenstein or Wuthering Heights, that sort of writing style, and I love that because it is so consuming and atmospheric and chilling at times. That writing style really pulls you in, and if you're reading it during the right time and setting or place, I was reading this alone at night, of course, with some tea. It was just the perfect time to read it, and I love that sort of story. And so I just completely fell into the words on the page, and I was just so consumed. And this is a ghost story at its core. It's quite simple. You know, we follow him throughout the story, Arthur, and then we're not really told what happened to this woman in black until the end of the story when we find out everything. So you find out with him right at the end, and so it's this slow, steady build up, which I love so much. And you know, though things in the book are kind of repetitive at some points, because Arthur's going, then something happens and he's haunted, and then something else happens and he's haunted again, and da 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 da, and he's haunted again. But it's still so worth the read because it's just a very compelling, entertaining read. And the setting of the story in itself really just like pulls it all together, because it's set in this small town and there are marshes everywhere, and the home that he's staying at is actually kind of cut off from the rest of the town in a way, because at a certain time of the day the tide rises and blocks off this road, so he really is stranded at some points. And it's so spooky because I myself, I live right next to a slough, like a marsh kind of thing, and so just picturing that, knowing I'm right next to that, I was very in the zone when it came to this book. So I really enjoyed it. I loved the character, I loved the writing style, I loved just the spookiness of it, because it just felt like an old-fashioned ghost story. It could have been told this story by anyone while I was camping or something, you know, and it would have spooked me out. Granted, I will say that, you know, when it comes to book versus movie, the movie, when I watched it a long time ago, back when I was probably in high school or middle school, who knows when, spooked me out a lot, because I think when you bring that sort of story to life, you're able to just, with the cinematography and the images, you're able to really build up that spooky tension. But the books is still definitely able to do that. I wasn't as terrified as I was with the movie. The movie did really scare me as a kid, but the book itself is still chilling. It will still chill you, just probably not in the same way, I guess I could say. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I was a big fan of this, in case you couldn't tell. I really like this. I think it's written as if it was a classic, so if you're a fan of a classic ghost story, you will like this. I would recommend to anyone that loves anything, like I said, gothic-y, but besides that, I don't know if I have anything else to say. It's just a really good story. It's quite short as well. It's only about maybe 200 pages or 190 something pages. I would say that if you are a fan of like super action-packed stories, this might not be for you, because it's very slow burning, but at the same time, yeah, it's really good. It's a really good story, so I really recommend it. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. It's pretty good. I give it like 2 thumbs up. Yeah, okay, that's all I really have to say. That's my review. I would love to know if you have read this. Let me know your comments in the comment section below. What are words? I'm so sorry. It's after work, it's getting dark, and I'm tired, and I need to go make some dinner, so I'm gonna go do that. I'll see you guys later. Bye.